Hi, hello, and welcome to another session of Class 6 Mathematics. And I'm your Anu from mathschool.1. Last class we have been seeing chapter 4, basic geometrical ideas, and I have stopped with polygons. Now this class will continue. We'll still more with polygons, and we'll also see the special circle, that is, which is not made up of line segments and it's not a polygon. Okay, so now let's start. Our topic is basic geometrical ideas, chapter 4. Now, as I said before, rays form angles too. When two rays meet at a point, it forms an angle. I've told you, isn't it? The angle is the measure of inclination, isn't it? So the angle has rays as its two arms. It is not necessarily, a ray has to be there when an angle is formed. If there are two line segments too, we say an angle is formed with a common point, isn't it? Two line segments, when they meet at a common point, an angle is formed. Okay, so based on these angles, now we know what is an angle, and let me define some angles. Okay, you would have seen a protractor and you would have used a protractor for constructions in geometry in your previous classes, and a protractor has angles from 0 to 180 on either sides, and the middle is 90 degrees, isn't it? And now the angles formed are classified into acute, obtuse, right angle, and a straight angle, and then at last the reflex angle. So these are kinds of angles which are formed. And what is meant by acute angle? What is an acute angle? Acute angle, the definition for acute angle is if I draw an angle like this or like this, but anyway it is lying within 90 degrees. See, whatever angle I draw, it is within 90 degrees. So an acute angle is formed when the angle is less than 90 degrees. Okay, so the angle which is less than 90 degrees is called an acute angle. Okay, next is when I draw more than 90 degrees. See, these angles are more than 90 degrees, isn't it? So 90 degree is my first reference point, and I am terming the angles according to 90 degrees. So when the angle is greater than 90 degree but less than 180 degree, within 180 degree it has to be. If it is greater than 90 and less than 180, this is termed as obtuse angle. Okay, then what is the angle which is exactly drawn at 90 degree called? So the perpendicular line, I said, always form 90 degree, isn't it? So the angle, that is the corners of squares or rectangles, is a 90 degree, isn't it? So what is it called? It is called a right angle. So when the angle is equal to 90 degree, it is called a right angle. Now what is straight angle? As the name implies, the straight line. If I draw a straight line, even the straight line has an angle to it. So from 0 to 180, if you measure, this straight angle will be equal to 180 degree, or else it can also be said the straight angle is at 0 degrees. So either 0 degrees or 180 degrees, because in a protractor you have 0 and 180 on either sides, isn't it? So 0 degree without any inclination, it means without any inclination. So that is a straight angle. Or if the angle is 180 degree, that is when a line starts from here and falls just in place with the same line, then it makes 180 degree, isn't it? So that is also a straight angle. Then what do we mean by reflex angle? See, we have defined up to 90 degree, then more than 90, within 180. Then what is the thing left? More than 180. isn't it? Greater than 180, there has to be some name for angles greater than 180 degree. See, let us say the angle is 225 degrees. So it is naturally more than 180, isn't it? So if this is 180, see, if this angle is 180, what about this? This is also 180. So the total angle is 360 degrees. Okay. So the total angle, that is the angle around a particular point when measured, gives you 360 degrees. Okay. So now if I say 225, I have two methods of constructing 225. That is, from here to here it is 180 degree, and from here, see, this is 90, this is 90, okay, this is 90 and this is also 90. From here to here it is 180. Now if I draw a line in, if I draw in the middle, isn't it? So because 90 divided by 2 is 45. So if this is 45, then this 180 plus 45 from here to here. So how can I draw this? See, I can draw this like this. So this becomes 225 degrees. I can either draw it like this. First, I can draw a straight line with a scale, then place the protractor upside down like this. And from 0, you measure 45 and draw a line which is equal to 45. And you get the angle 225 degrees. Do you understand? This is one of the way, or the other way around is, what is this angle? The remaining angle, that is 360 degrees. Total angle is 360. 360 minus this 225 will give you 5, 3 and 135 degrees, isn't it? So 135 degree, the balance is 135 degree, which is obtuse angle, we know. So how do we construct this? I keep the protractor here, and this is, since this is 185, see, this is the baseline, and since this is 135 degrees, I count 0 from here and mark 135 degree. When I keep the protractor upside down, see 0 here and mark 135 degree and draw a line. So you will get 135 degree. When you draw 135 degree, then the upper portion will be 225 degree naturally, isn't it? Because 360 minus 135 is 225. So what is this angle called, which facilitates us to construct angles greater than 180 degrees? Is called the reflex angle. So if you are asked for reflex angles for any degree, for any angle, you just subtract from 360 degree from the total angle and find the reflex angle. Okay, do you understand? So you can find the reflex angles for any angle. Just you need to subtract the angle from 360 degrees. Okay, so these are some kind of angles which I want you to know. We will see more about angles in the next chapter. So with the idea of angles, we'll be able to see more shapes and know about circles too. Now, I've told you quadrilaterals. There are special kind of quadrilaterals, special quadrilaterals. Special quadrilaterals, which is a square, isn't it? All the sides are equal, and rectangle, opposite sides are equal. I've told you this before. And parallelogram, just a rectangle tilted, and a rhombus, square tilted, and then a trapezium, whose one pair of sides is parallel. This is a trapezium. And the kite formation, where adjacent sides, that is a pair of adjacent sides, are equal. Okay, so these are some special quadrilaterals you have to know about. Okay. In the last class we have been, we have already seen the adjacent side, opposite side of any polygon. If you take any polygon, see, if you take any polygon and the sides marked, you have AB and BC as the adjacent side, BC is adjacent to CD and CD is adjacent to AD, isn't it? So what is opposite side? AB is opposite to CD and BC is opposite to DA. Okay, so these are the opposite sides and adjacent sides. I have already told you about the diagonals also. So the diagonal is a line segment which doesn't form the side of any polygon and whose ends are opposite vertices. So that you should remember. Okay, so those are diagonals. Now the last one is, the important one is the circle. Now we are going to read about the circle. Okay, we know circle. We already know a circle. We use compass to draw a circle. But what is the measurement we take in the compass? We take a measurement in the compass with O as center, and this measurement, what do we say this measurement? And some centimeters, say 5 centimeters as radius we take, isn't it? We say it as radius. So radius is the measurement we take in the compass that is useful for construction of a circle, that is used to construct a circle. So radius, what is radius? The distance from the center to any point on the circle. Okay, OA. So the definition of radius is the distance from the center of the circle to any point on the circle. Okay, so that is termed as radius. So now center, you have read about the regions, isn't it? I have told you regions. So the center always lies in the interior region of a circle and the point A on the boundary. So any point you take on the boundary, the distance from the center to any point on the circle is defined as radius. Okay, do you understand? So this is termed as radius. So the first thing we have learnt about is the radius. Okay, and O is the center. Now we'll see the rest of the components of circle. We have many components and radius is one of them. Radius, and we have also learnt about the center. Now I draw, see, I said radius is from the center to any point on the circle is termed as radius, I told you. I draw any line which touches two ends of the circle. Now what is this called? Every line has some definition in circle, and the line which has two endpoints on the circle is called, see, this AB is called the chord of the circle. So any line which has two endpoints on the circle is called the chord of the circle. You understand? So I can draw any number of lines like that. So which means the circle at 2 points, these are all chords. But the chord which meets the center, which passes through the center. So the lines which passes through the center, we can draw. I said there can be infinite number of lines through a particular point, isn't it? So we can draw any number of lines which passes through the center and touches the circle at 2 points. Then that is the longest chord that we can draw in a circle. So the longest chord, I name it as CD. The longest chord, CD, or I can write it like this also. CD is what we call the diameter of the circle. You understand? The longest chord, this is the longest chord, and this is called the diameter of the circle. And we already know from center to any point on the circle is termed as radius, isn't it? See, now we have two radius. This is 1 and this is 2. So twice the radius is diameter. So diameter is equal to 2 times the radius, or 2 into OD. OD is also radius, so 2 times OD. Do you understand? So the longest chord is diameter and 2 times radius will be your diameter. So this is about the chord. Now let's see some other terms regarding circle. Okay, now that you know what is a chord, see, now you know what is a chord, isn't it? This is a chord we have I told you this is a chord. This is center O for our reference. Okay, let this be. Okay, so when this is termed as a chord, then what is the portion here called? The AB, the portion of the circle AB, which is in dark line. See, I made it darker for you. So what is this darker portion called? See, we write it like this. This is called an arc of the circle. That is, a portion of the circle is called an arc. Okay, we take any portion. Can be any portion also. This is termed as, if this is termed as CD, then CD is also called the arc of a circle. So we have arc of a circle here. Okay, so what is this area enclosed by the chord and the arc is called? Okay, AB, that is called the segment of the circle. It's a segment. Okay, it's called a segment which is enclosed by the chord AB and the arc AB of the circle. It is called the segment. Okay, so now when we say this as the segment, now AB, this is called arc, and the other way around, you see, this is also an arc, because this also forms the part of the circle, isn't it? The rest part of the circle. So this is what we call the minor arc, and the segment formed by this arc with AB chord is called the minor segment. And this portion above AB, this segment above AB, this segment is called the major segment. Do you understand? The major arc and the major segment. So the size defines which is minor and which is major, but the area enclosed by the chord and the arc is called segment. That you should remember. Okay, now the longest chord I told you is the diameter, isn't it? So now if the diameter, if this circle is divided in, when the diameter is drawn in a circle, this diameter of course divides the circle into two parts, isn't it? Because that is the longest chord and it passes through the center. So it divides the circle into two halves. So these two halves, see, this one I write it as CD. CD is the diameter. So this segment and this segment are equal, and that those both segments form the semicircle. Do you understand? That is what is called semicircle. That is the portion enclosed by the arc with the diameter longest chord is called the semicircle. Do you understand? So this portion, and I rub this off. There is no major arc and minor arc here because both are equal, I said, because this is the longest chord and it passes through the center even. So these two are equal and they are called individually as semicircles. Okay, do you understand? Now we'll see at another term. See, for your reference, I am drawing semicircle is drawn like this. Okay, you know what is a semicircle? So semicircle is drawn like this. Now, I take a circle. I know the center here. Okay, I draw radius. There can be any number of radius, isn't it? And I have drawn two radius, OA and OB. Now AB forms the arc, you know that very well. So what is the portion enclosed by the two radius with the arc AB? The area enclosed by the two radius OA and OB with the arc AB. This is called the sector. Okay, and this, see these two lines I said earlier, even two line segments can form an angle when they have a common meeting point, isn't it? See, OA and OB are two line segments and they form an angle here, and this angle is called the central angle. Okay, so this is called a central angle, the angle made by two radius, and the area enclosed by the two radius and the arc of the circle is called the sector. Sector of the circle. Do you understand now? Yes. And to another terminologies. See, for a circle, I know this is radius. So if a person starts from this place, okay, starts from A, he goes round the circle and completes one full rotation around the circle. So what is the distance travelled by him? So that is called circumference. Just as we say the distance travelled, see, from A, B, C, D to A again. So when I travel like this, the distance travelled by me in the case of polygons, it is called perimeter. Okay, just remember the word perimeter, that is going around the boundary. That is perimeter in case of polygons. But in the case of circles, going around the boundary once is called circumference. The length is called the circumference. So the length along the boundary of a circle is called the circumference of the circle. You just understand the term. Okay, we'll go into the method for finding circumference later on. So now the circumference of the circle is the distance around the boundary of the circle. Do you understand? And the formula for finding circumference will be 2 into pi into r. Now what is this pi? Pi is a standard, it's a standard value which gives you the value of 22 by 7, and r is the radius of the circle. So 2 pi r is the circumference. Even 22 by 7, that is, pi is either written as 22 by 7 or it can also be written as 3.14. Okay, in decimal numbers. Do you understand? So this is all we need to know about circles, and we have got a fair idea about geometry in this chapter. So we have covered all the basic geometrical ideas in the chapter, and in the next class I'll give you some problems and we'll solve some problems in this chapter so that we'll be knowing more clearly about these geometrical ideas which we have read, and then and there I'll give you some additional information too about the geometrical ideas of this chapter. Okay, so until we meet in the next class, it's bye from Anu for MathSchool.1. Thank you.